He's been a professor for almost 50 years. He was a Rollins, been a Rollins 24 years since 1993, and before then, he was a UNC Chapel Hill for another 23 years. So it's an amazing, amazing career. But anything I can say in these few remarks really doesn't make justice to David, to his accomplishments, his career. So I'm going just to say a few things, a few highlights. He literally trained generations of epidemiologists in the US and around the world through his classes and textbooks, including myself. And actually, when I came to Emory and I got to know him, to meet him in the early 2000s, obviously I was highly honored. And of course, when I got to be his department chair, I got very humbled. He's the author of so many important, remarkable, prominent textbooks that have, both in epidemiology and biostatistics, that have been used for many years throughout the world and have helped train so many people, including myself. I would say that he has revolutionized the teaching of biostatistics, making it much more affordable for people who are not statisticians, and he has particularly tailored it for epidemiologists primarily throughout his books and his teaching and his classes throughout the world. He has written, I think, over 20 textbooks, including several editions of his textbooks. Many of them have been translated in numerous languages. This is remarkable, remarkable indeed. He is the proud creator of Active Epi, the textbook, and then which has been then followed by the Active Epi Web, which is an online tool, multimedia tool for the teaching of epidemiology and statistics, which, by the way, is free for everyone on our website, can be downloaded by anyone in the world for free. And of course, he has won many awards, many teaching awards, many academic awards over his 47-year career, and you'll get the chance to hear more about this, even from himself later on today. In short, he's been celebrated throughout the world for his teaching, and he has touched so many lives. I just wanted to give you a little flavor of this, and I'm going to share with you a few comments that I got from people about David. I'll start with Miguel Porta, who is a professor at Universitat Autònoma de Barcelona, who sends his regrets that he could not be here. But he says this: Dave has been a most influential scholar and a person in the professional and personal lives. So many of us in Europe, and around the world. I am extremely grateful to him for his scientific insights and for being the great human being that he is. Ulrich Kiel, Professor Emeritus at University of Münster in Germany, who, by the way, was also his student here at UNC many years ago, says, David's teaching and his scientific and moral support were really grandiose. David is not only very talented in many areas, but also a wonderful human being. He helped starting an epidemiology summer school in Germany with a 30-year duration. And finally, I wanted to share with you these comments from Ature Collins, who is a professor at Kampala University in Uganda, who sent this email to David, and then David shared it with me. I am extremely grateful to have read some of your books, especially Logistic Regression and Survival Analysis, self-learning text. You are so special, and I became so fond of you. that as a result, I promised myself to name my child after you. Shall I have one? On Monday, 27th March 2017, my wife gave birth to a baby boy, whose name now is David Kleinbaum, musician. I am eternally grateful for the matchless skill of making complex things so simple. I thank God for creating such people like you. So you can see from these comments how David stands out not only for his academic accomplishments, but for his person, for the way he relates to people, and how much people appreciate him as a person. I am going to stop here so that I can give the chance to others to also say a few words. I just want to conclude by saying that to David, that we are also enormously grateful for all you have done for our students, for our department, for our school, and for the field of epidemiology and public health. Thank you, David. And now we'll hear a few words from Dean Curran.
Thanks, Viola. David, you were lucky that guy didn't have a girl. What a great crowd. I mean, it's amazing how many of you people we haven't seen in a long time. You're all here to see Edna and David. It's kind of a tribute to the legacy of your career. When I've been talking to people in the last week or so about your retirement, and it turns out that 3 of our associate deans and 3 of our department chairs used your textbook in their studies. So Colleen McBride, Paige Tolbert, Viola Vaccarino, they're all saying, oh yeah, we all used this textbook when we were getting our degrees in epidemiology. And many of you, let's have a show of hands of how many people studied with David's materials or were taught by him in class. I mean, amazing, just absolutely amazing. 48 years, and you have here your matchmaker, came, Dr. Greatzer. You have Dr. James, who was one of your original colleagues in North Carolina, who you caused trouble with earlier in your career. Came back from his extended honeymoon in Arkansas. 48 years of academic public health and faculty, 24 at Emory, and mostly 24 at UNC. I remember, I've been here slightly less time than you, but I knew of you when I was at CDC, when people were saying, finally we got somebody here to teach for us at CDC advanced epidemiologic methods who actually knows something about them. They used your textbook, but they didn't have you, and you were partly enticed to come to Atlanta, I believe, because of the needs at CDC and the capacity to teach people at CDC who were applied epidemiologists. I think that you are known for many things, in addition to epidemiology and biostatistics methods. You're known for being from Brooklyn. You're known for your research, although the interesting thing is that you've never seen somebody who's such a good researcher whose teaching overshadows it, so it doesn't get mentioned. Somebody has hundreds of research publications, and everybody says, yeah, but he's really a great teacher. And like, that's the great thing. So I've never seen that before, where a great researcher is overshadowed by his teaching and educational skills. You're known for liking the Brooklyn Dodgers and actually being alive when they existed. And the Jackie Robinson hero. It's said that your interest in civil rights and humanities have spring back to your love of Jackie Robinson being the first African American to play baseball in the major leagues. I was around when Jackie Robinson was there too. In Detroit, it was Ozzie Virgil. Ozzie Virgil, very good second baseman. You're known for basketball, loving basketball, loving the Braves in baseball, loving the University of North Carolina, which I understand is a decent basketball team. You're known for your music, playing the flute with the Moonlighters and being one of the founders of the Moonlighters, and playing the flute for students and virtually anybody else who comes by in Atlanta. You're known for your sense of humor and your stories, and for your garish shirts. That allows people to laugh with you and laugh at you at the same time. I didn't get the memo. I thought I had a shirt to wear, but I had a couple Kleinbaum-like shirts that I bought in Hawaii many years ago, but I took them to Goodwill to give away. Unfortunately, Goodwill didn't take them. So I gave them to the Kidney Foundation. So I couldn't find a shirt to wear today. I should have borrowed one from somebody. You're known for your respect for students, which is something that is almost as important as teaching students. And your love of students by memorizing their names and pictures when they join your class, so that they realize the teacher actually respects them and wants to teach them very complex material and make it fun. What about biostatistics and epidemiologic methods? Things that scare many of our master students. You make them fun, but you don't do that by making it trivial, which is what many of us do when we think people can't understand things. Instead, you're thorough, but you make people understand the complexity. And you have a characteristic style, which many others will probably comment on. But it's a characteristic style. And your research career has been very strong, but again, your teaching reputation overshadows all. I have a letter here from a friend who says the following. Dear David, please accept my congratulations on your appointment as Professor Emeritus of Epidemiology, effective September 14, 2017. The university was fortunate to recruit you in 1993, and your many contributions to the field of epidemiology and on campus promise to have a lasting impact. The influence of your research extends through scores of articles in leading publications, such as the American Journal of Epidemiology, the American Journal of Public Health, and JAMA. You have further shaped the future of epidemiology through several textbooks, including interactive Epi edition online. And in addition to providing highly valued classroom teaching, you've consulted for the CDC and trained doctoral students through Emory's tattoo program. Peers have recognized your contributions, among other ways, with numerous honors, from the university's Emory Williams Teaching Award to the Association of Schools of Public Health Teaching Excellence Award. You have shown remarkable generosity in your own right by setting up the David G. Kleinbaum Fund for Teaching Excellence in Epidemiology at Emory. Your career exemplifies the university's mission to create, preserve, teach, and apply knowledge in the service of humanity, and the Emeritus Award recognizes your distinguished service to Emory. I'm delighted that you remain a colleague as you embark in this new chapter of your career. Claire E. Sturt, President. So I'd like to emphasize a couple more things in addition to your publications, and I want to put that textbook thing in context. Now, many of us have either edited textbooks, some of you have written textbooks, many of us have written chapters that have deadlines. And editing and writing textbooks are sort of the ultimate deadlines that have to be done. And if they're not any good, then you don't write more than one edition, because nobody wants to read it. Why would you redo it if nobody wants to read it? You've done 7 textbooks and 21 editions between 1978 and 2014. In the remaining small quantitative part of my life, that means that you've written a textbook every 20 months. Every 20 months? How would you like to do a textbook every 20 months? What the rest do you think about that? You know? Talking about deadlines, you're constantly on a timetable and a deadline. In addition, you've taught classes at Emory and and or at UNC and at CDC at least 2 or 3 times a year for 48 years, and you had 200 continuing education classes. That's about 5 a year, or a continuing education class every 2 to 3 months. I guess you must take those textbooks with you to edit while you're on the plane between these continuing education classes. You've received rewards of teaching everywhere, at UNC, Rollins School of Public Health, the Emory Williamson Award, CDC, the Abe Lilienfeld Award for a career teaching in epidemiology, and the inaugural Pfizer ASPH Teaching Award for Excellence from Schools of Public Health. Something you should be maybe even more proud of is in 1973, and I discussed this with Sherman James, you received the Human Rights Award by the Black Student Caucus at UNC, which maybe goes back to your days in Brooklyn. But Jackie Robinson would have been proud of you. Your generosity, you established, again, the David Kleinbaum Fund on Teaching and Excellence. And Juanita and I want to thank you for that, because we're going to get a tax break when we contribute $1,000. Rollins School of Public Health will not get a tax break, but we will contribute another $10,000 to the award this week. So you got $11,000. Johns Hopkins has a saying that I envy them for, which is, our mission is to save lives of millions at a time. And I think that can be said of you with the reach of your teaching and your textbooks and your courses and your teachers who've taught teachers, that you've been teaching epidemiology and public health to millions at a time. So thanks and congratulations.
Homage to David.
By the way, you notice that he's wearing one of those shirts. And the question I ask is, how many people in this room are wearing a shirt like one of my shirts? And there are more than one. I see
Right?
Phil.
All over.
I see all. Raise your hand.
And David, I got this shirt for your 60th birthday party. It's worn well, right?
Did anybody get their shirts from the Kidney Foundation?
It's hard to sum up the essence of David Kleinbaum in a word, trying to look for how you encapsulate David Kleinbaum. And I should say Sir David Kleinbaum, because actually David was knighted in Majorca a number of years ago by what? The physician of the King of Spain? Right.
It was the mayor of New York.
The mayor of Majorca, on the authority of the physician of Spain. He was your buddy, right? Okay. So it's Sir David Kleinbaum. But if I had to come up with a word, it would be virtuoso, and the Italian and Latin roots of the word virtuoso, meaning skilled or learned or of exceptional worth. All of those, I think, together define what David has done. And some people, through the course of their lives, eventually become a virtuoso in one area, in one skill. But David is that rarity who's become a virtuoso in several areas of performance. So he's the plural of virtuoso. He's a virtuosi. And because he's done multiple things, he's a virtuoso scholar. He creates, describes, and more importantly, effectively communicates in his writing the knowledge of his trade and epidemiologic methods and statistical methods through the books and the media. He's a virtuoso in teaching. He's the consummate teacher. Conveys his enthusiasm, engages students with his rhetoric, his stories, his flashy shirts, and whatever gimmicks he can come up with to really get students involved and want to be a part of what he's doing and learning what he's teaching. So he motivates them to want to learn, to engage, and assimilate the skills that he's transmitting. And as Jim said, from the first day, students know that this is someone special. You'd hear the buzz after his class. He goes in there and he starts talking to them and calling them all by names because he memorizes all the names prior to the first class. And so what is he saying when he does that? He cares about him, he hears him, he sees him, he wants to perform. That kind of orientation to his class really sets the the standard for the rest of the semester. He's also a virtuoso musician, or he's close to. All his life he wanted to be Herbie Mann, and he's about there,
Herbie Mann's original name was Herbert Solomon, Brooklyn, New York.
So he wanted to be Herbie Solomon from Brooklyn, and he's pretty close to it. He strives to master both traditional standards and new jazz forms and ensemble. He's always trying new stuff. So I view David as a rare, multi-talented virtuosi, and I think that of him, and those are reflected in the earlier comments as well. But David